Hello, my name is Michael Lovelace and I'm a third-year medical student at the University of Louisville School of Medicine, and this is my project submission for the AAFP Emerging Leader Institute. Using Microsoft Excel, I have created a personal budgeting and reporting software package that students can use as a tool to financially evaluate family medicine as a potential career. After completing the data entry form, users will be provided reporting that summarizes loan payment options, analyzes their current budget, and calculates if they are on track to reach their retirement goals. With this information, students will have a better understanding of what their future can be like as a practicing family physician. So let's begin by taking a look at the data entry sheet. Click on the Start Here tab located on the bottom. In the top left, you'll see instructions including color-coded instructions for data entry. I've tried to limit the amount of data entry to about 40 questions. Total time for data entry is about 15 to 20 minutes initially, depending on if the person has all of their information available. In the effort to save time during this review, I have already pre-populated data in here. So in the top section we have information about the user, including salary and retirement information. Moving down, we have a space here where individuals can enter loan forgiveness program payments that they expect. And then we have information about their individual loans. For this person, I've selected $180,000 at 6.5%, which is about the average loan balance for graduating medical students now. Once you enter in that information, the system calculates your payments, either income-based repayments, income-based level payments during residency as well as post-residency, or you can select a 25-year payoff plan or a 10-year payoff plan. By selecting the payment plan, this information will then be populated into the budget. Moving down, we have transportation. I've given a couple of examples of different car models and then prices of used and new and used versions of those car models. So for current example purposes, I'm going to have the resident get a $38,000 car, and then as a post-resident, they'll have a $40,000 car. For housing, the user can put in rent prices, and they can put in how much they would need to borrow to purchase a home that they would be considering as an alternative to renting. By entering that information, they're given the total cost to rent compared to the total cost to buy. Okay? And then they are given the option to select either to rent or buy as a resident. The same exact exercise for post-resident housing. You have rent, and then you have buying options. And again, you get to select which you would prefer to do. And then lastly, we have our remaining expenses for the resident that needs to be entered, and then post-resident expenses. Again, I've already pre-entered some information, so we can go to the reporting. So at any point on the sheet, you can click on this report button to bring you to the reporting tab. Also, if at any point the information you want to reset it all to 0, you can just click this box here and then it will reset all the data entry points to 0. So let's go to the initial budget summary report. Our first report is the budget summary report, which has the resident budget summary as well as the post-resident budget summary. If you need to go back to the data entry tab, on all the reports you can click this home page button, or you can navigate back to the Start Here tab located at the bottom. So what I've done here on this report is color-coded all of the expenses based on suggested allocation ranges. So if it's green, it's within the suggested allocation range. If it is red, it is outside of the suggested allocation range. This gives the users some starting points to look at when they need to make budget changes. For example, in this case, the resident's budget is $592 over. Looking at the post-resident, we have a $65 surplus actually each month, but we do have a few categories that are a little bit that are indicated as red. You will see that a couple of the line items, if they're below the suggested range, they will be red. You're not required to change any cells that are red, but it is just to make the user aware that they can double check that number and make sure that their number is not unnecessarily low. The next report is the resident budget chart, which is the same information as the budget summary report, but for those individuals that prefer graphs over tables. You'll see here we have the bar. This represents any items that individually were 4% or less. Cumulatively, they form 9% of the total expenses, meaning that 91% of the expenses are associated with all the remaining categories. In particular, you can see here between the car and the home we have 53%. So this again helps the user identify the big ticket items that they need to focus on when making budget changes to have a significant effect on their shortage. Again, we have the home page button here for returning back to the data entry tab. Report number 3 is the post-resident budget. Again, this is another pie chart with an expanded bar for the smaller items. Same as the last chart, just this is for post-resident expenses as opposed to expenses during residency. Moving on to report number 4. This is the student loan summary report. At the top you'll see the beginning balance of the student loans, any dollar amounts associated with loan repayment programs, and then the selected loan repayment plan that the user identified on the data entry tab. For informational purposes, I've also provided the total interest that would accrue based on the 3 different payment plans that were available. For the income-based repayment plan, this does not reflect any loan forgiveness that would result from public service loan forgiveness eligibility. In the graph is the same exact information, however presented in a graphical perspective, with the addition of showing when the different plans, when you would pay them off. So for example, the 10-year payment plan as well as the IBR, those are going to pay off around 41 to 43 years of age, whereas the 25-year payment plan is going to pay off closer to 57 years of age. The blue area represents the payments that the individual made over the life of the loan. The final report to take a look at is the retirement summary report, which shows how much the user has selected to save during residency here. We have and then post-residency, as well as information related to their retirement goal. Earlier in the data entry tab, they identified when they wanted to retire and what percentage of their expected post-residency salary they would need on an annual basis for retirement, or in other words, what their financial retirement goal was. That information was then used to forecast their projected retirement goal, adjusting for inflation. In this case, it's $3.8 million. And then using the savings as well as projected earnings from being invested in the stock market, we get a projected retirement balance of $2.7 million. The system tells the user that they are not at this point ready to or projected to achieve their retirement goal, and it tells them how much additional post-retirement salary they need to save in order to achieve that goal. In this case, it's an additional 5%. Also below that we have a graph which again just restates the table information, but in a graph presentation. We have our retirement goal, we have the blue lines representing our projected balance, And again, you can see that they are below our retirement goal, thus we are not going to achieve our retirement goal. At this point, we've looked at all the reports, so now let's go back to the home page and make some adjustments to our budgets. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 5% to our post-residency retirement savings contribution. So we go to the home page, up to the top, and what was originally 10%, we're going to make 15%. I'm also going to add 2 years of loan forgiveness program at $20,000 each, as an example. And then our other issue was our transportation was high for both budgets, so we're going to change the resident from $38,000 to a $15,000 car, and then post-resident we're going to make that a $25,000 car loan. Everything else I believe will stay the same. So now let's take a look at our reports. And again, we can come up here. We'll go to the budget summary to begin with. So by changing the transportation, we have actually created a surplus of $205 a month, which is in addition to the $250 a month that we're actually saving for emergency funds. You also see that the gifts and dining out is red here at 3%. That just suggests that that might be a little bit low at $100 a month for dining out, but with the additional $200 a month, that should give us some cushion to remedy that. Okay. Looking at the post-resident budget, we're basically at break-even, but note that we have fixed our retirement contribution, so now that is back on track after reducing our transportation. So we increased it to 15%, so we really added another $500 to $600 per month towards retirement. Also of note, we are saving $700 a month for emergency fund. So even though we're at break even for the month, we do have some month-to-month cash available for emergencies or any surprises that would come up. We don't need to take a look at the pie charts, those are the same, but we can take a look at the student loans. So the change that we made here is we added $40,000 in loan forgiveness program, and you'll see that those kick in that are decrease or decline in student loan balance is significantly steeper, and then it changes our payoff time frame. I believe last time this 25-year plan was set at around 57, and now we're looking at 49. And the two other plans, the 10-year and the income-based repayment plan, were paid off around 41 to 43. And now we're looking at closer to 39 years of age. So an adjustment. Again, this is something where the student or the resident can try different options to see what works best for them in their financial situation. Also note that the total interest that would be paid by the student or resident is automatically updated to reflect the early payments of the loan forgiveness program. And then let's take a look at the last report, which is the retirement report. So again, the one change that we made is we bumped the 10% up to 15%. That directly impacted our projected retirement balance, which is now higher than our goal. And so the system is saying that yes, we will be able to achieve our retirement goal based on the assumptions that we've entered into our budget. And the graph agrees with that and confirms the same exact information. So that is an example of how a user can modify some of their budget assumptions to try and improve their financial outcome. Thank you for watching my video and giving me the opportunity to demonstrate my project. If you have any questions, please send me an email at michael.lovelace@louisville.edu. Have a good day.